Are there training applications that Airsoft can bring to a serious player?
Ah, marami.
Okay.
Kasi, well, the way we approach airsoft or the way we approach our brand of game, the AGL game, was to bring in as many skills as you know or practice as many skills as you know. Yung field skills, survival skills,
Mm,
even na technical rescue skills,
mm,
anything that you can bring into the game. Camping, swimming, rock climbing. You can engage in the game as an individual, or you can engage in the game as part of a team. Yung
right.
team building portion, um, learning teamwork,
Mm,
and cohesiveness, discipline, individually and as a group, working towards a goal. Yung mga those kind of things.
Good evening, everybody. Episode 2. And in this particular episode, we'll be tackling the wonderful world of Airsoft. Now, a lot of you have probably heard about it, may have even tried to play it, but how many of you know the true history, the present status, and the possible directions that the sport is going to take? So I'm sure some of you, or many of you, are just downright curious. So tonight, I'm joined by uh, two other stalwarts of the sport. First of all, the father of airsoft himself, call sign Almighty. That's Rex Villarosa. Welcome to the virtual stage, Rex. Yeah. And of course, Con Abraham, who some of you may have seen during the during the episode 1 where we talked about emergency training and how it needs to be more effective and relevant. So he joins us tonight because Con is also one of the earliest members of AGL, which is what you call Action Gamers League, which will be explained in greater detail later. Uh, One more would have joined us, and he's a real hoot to have in any group. But unfortunately, he had to attend to other urgent things. So for tonight, it's Rex, call sign Almighty, Con, call sign, if you don't mind my saying that, Insect Man, and of course, yours truly, your host, Dino Santos, call sign Knife Man. Oh, by the way, we're not the ones who come up with these names, and sometimes we get baptized with them. So let me start out by asking Rex, how did you come to be called Almighty?
Uh, my radio call sign.
Oh, okay. So that people would radio you during the game, and then
Uh, CB days, Citizens Band days.
oh my goodness, those were those things went back even as far as the 70s. So you must have had like a tower.
Yeah, we did. We had, and at the time, we had one of the more powerful transmitters around, so I could step on anybody.
Oh,
Almighty.
yeah. Okay, there you go. What an appropriate name there for it. And Han, let me turn to you for this one. How on earth did you get called Insect Man?
Actually, I don't really use a call sign. It's more
Okay.
of a moniker. Only in a private game, it's called. I call myself Crow. Insect Man is like the shortened version of my email, Insect Machine. So
Okay, there you go.
like that.
Um, I've always thought that it's appropriate because you've managed to stay slim. And, hindi ka tumaba, not like the rest of us.
Good allegory.
Yeah. So, okay lang, no? Ako naman, I think I didn't call myself Knife Man. If I'm not mistaken, it's either you or Ray who called me because of my incessant collection. I was always building a collection of new
I
old.
think it's Ray.
Si Ray nagbinyag sa akin. Hmm. Okay, well, I don't mind because I like the call sign anyway. So, to begin our show tonight, I'd like to take our viewers on a trip down memory lane where we will be essentially looking at the history of airsoft, so that we can better explain it. And according to Wikipedia, this is the definition of airsoft. So our viewers, I'm sure, can read this. But I love the definition that Rex had, which is way simpler than this one. Rex, could you tell our viewers what to you is airsoft?
Well, as I mentioned earlier before the meeting, airsoft simply means a low-powered air gun, soft air gun.
Mm.
So the Japanese coined the term airsoft as opposed to a hard air gun, where you fire metal BBs or metal pellets. Airsoft guns fired plastic pellets.
Mm. In other words, non-lethal.
Yeah, low powered, non lethal, almost non hurtful.
Okay. Now, for our viewers out there, I think the law defines lethal as 600 feet per second. 600 feet per second is the speed at which a projectile travels. Most airsoft uh, toys or replicas, back in Rex's day, at the very start with Tokyo Marui, the speed was at around how fast was it, Rex?
Okay. Muzzle velocities were uh, restricted to below 1 joule. Or the Japanese anyway, they had controlling body
Okay.
called the ASGK, Airsoft Gun Kai or organization, na yung it imposed restrictions on the industry, on the manufacturers themselves.
Mm.
They can only make, well, in the Japanese laws, they can only shoot .2 BBs below 300 FPS.
Okay, which is of course a very, very safe velocity. It's not.
0.9 joule.
Mm.
Okay. So for a long while, all airsoft guns, whether pistol or rifle, would shoot only 300 FPS
Mm.
using a .2 gram BB.
That's
The,
right.
that's the benchmark. Okay. When the UK put up their own airsoft rules, the limit went up to 1 joule or 330 FPS.
Okay, now that will start to sting.
Not so much, but before anything over 300 was wow, powerful. In the US, the limit is 400 FPS. Now that limit is more was put up by uh, mostly for insurance purposes.
Oh, okay. All right. Because there's some liability, of course, when game.
Insurance liability.
There you go. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then here in the Philippines, in current, we used to follow those thing. Uh, when we started, we went with 200, 300 FPS,
Okay.
and then 330 FPS,
All right.
then 400. But then as time went on, people kept on upgrading and upgrading and upgrading
Okay.
until they got the FEO, the firearms office, to compromise with 550 FPS.
Holy moly. That's strong enough to puncture like a Coke and can on both sides, right? That's
Yeah,
oh my gosh. Now let me ask Con briefly. As a first responder and a certified firefighter, I'm sure you've seen your share of injuries
Mhm.
sustained by players uh, in games. No, could you describe to us the extent of the injuries and what things should be done to stay safe when you engage in the sport?
Well, usually the injuries that's been caused is by the high velocity and
Okay.
at the within 20 meters range to close in fighting, and usually it's deeper welt
Oh,
eh,
okay.
to the cheek and to the arms mostly.
Yes.
Usually it's tolerable because it's like an unwritten rule that you just take accountability for it. It's either
Yeah.
that accountability that you hit someone, you ask apology, and
Yeah.
when you got hit, you just shake it off. I've had my few shares of nasty welts myself, and I don't really mind. I had my two lips busted,
Oh my gosh.
my near my ear, bro.
Yeah.
I had my head busted, and also I had my neck scraped by the ticket. So I don't really mind.
Yeah. Let me assure the viewers out there that the game is in reality quite safe because we do have a boatload of safety gear that we wear. Like, for example, at a game, they'll always say mask down. So, of course, we put down our mask, and that's meant to protect the eyes, the face, and people wear uniforms. When we do get hurt from time to time, and I've been hit here as well, and I recall one of my teammates in Praetorian saying, "Do you know you're bleeding?" And I said, "I ain't got time to bleed."
Got time
Uh,
to duck.
yeah, predator reference.
meron, meron cultural difference plays a big part in this.
Yeah.
In the days when players didn't have access to chronographs, no, measure velocities,
Mhm.
the Japanese observed a simple rule: if your gun if your gun is strong enough to give the other player a welt, you apologize.
Okay.
You get a warning. If the hip bleeds, the shooter is out of the game.
Oh, okay.
Simple.
Okay. Boy, I love those rules.
Yeah.
They
Well,
would.
we used to follow that same logic.
Mm.
That's why I'm more for controlling uh, power than putting the onus nung responsibility on the players to protect themselves with protective gear.
All right. Now,
Now, the Japanese would have it na you should not hurt the other players. It's your responsibility not to hurt your opponent.
right. Mm-mm.
So keep your gun safe.
Mm-mm.
Huh? Over here, there's an arms race. Then it becomes a target's responsibility to wear a mask, armor, you know, short of being RoboCop.
Okay. Now I'd like to show a picture that shows Rex and a few of his colleagues back in the day, um, where Action Games League was really, really at its height. Rex, just out of curiosity, at its height, and also maybe as a primer to our viewers, when did AGL officially begin?
Officially 1985.
Okay, yeah, all right, 1985.
Unofficially even before that.
Earlier.
I love the slogan that you have here, and I'd love for our viewers to hear it from you.
Yeah, we blazed the trail. Others follow.
Yeah, hey, there you go. I'm sure a lot of AGL players or former players, wherever they are, really wanted to hear you say that because it'll bring back a lot of good memories. Um, and then, of course, on Facebook, we have this group that's been created and it's been around for quite a while and it's still active up to now. No matter where the former players are, whether they're in the US, like Stan or the others, they still do post here and keep in touch. You were telling me earlier about how AGL was the first in so many things about airsoft. So here in this picture, it looks like you're at a gun emplacement, and this is in Corregidor, as you mentioned earlier.
Yes. We were supposed to play on the rock.
Oh my God!
Welcome to the rock.
Yeah, there you go.
Para
Uh,
ganun din. First to play in Subic.
oh, right. Yeah,
First to play in Baguio, TMA.
Marine base Ternate.
that's
Yeah, first to play in Marine Base Ternate.
oh man, and that was before the days of Facebook. So of course the pictures aren't as plentiful as they are.
Yeah, well, maybe if not for the floods, we would have more pictures. Nalubog na sa putik yung iba eh. Particularly yung collage of, we had several boards, collage boards we made for the gun show.
Oh,
We used it during uh, nine, 1996
mm,
show. We had some even from the 1989 gun show.
wow.
Well, they got flooded.
Sayang ano? Sayang.
Lap.
Oo.
Marami, we lost a lot of pictures eh. Really, really too bad. Yung a lot of nice pictures taken Valdez Farm, Rolling Hill, uh, yung in some other places all around Metro Manila and the provinces.
Yeah, like Area 51. I remember that as well. Yeah, and the one near the floodway, where it was
Score.
yeah,
Piscor.
Piscor. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Piscor was our home for some 4 or 5 years.
Wow. I'm glad I had a chance to enjoy that. Even for a
Yeah.
few games. Yeah.
Rolling Hills, we were in Rolling Hills from 1991 to 2000.
Well, that's
Oh,
wow. That's a
yeah,
very long time.
something like that.
Mm,
At least 8 years.
mm. I'd like to let Rex know that AGL did create its own spin-off groups that are still very active up to now, and this is it, the Praetorian Airsoft team, which has its own Facebook page. So
Uh, ano yan eh, as the name, we're supposed to be a league. So there's supposed to be smaller teams.
yes, definitely.
Yung the original composition of AGL was 5 teams. The Pasig side, which was ours, yung Gypsy. And then there are those from Malabon, then the LaSalle boys, and then the Southside boys from Paranaque, and well, I forget the other one now. Yung San Juan, I
So
think.
you would say that at its height there were like more than 400 active members.
We didn't really have a regular roster until around 2000. But at its peak, we normally had an attendance of mga maybe 200-300 in a weekend.
Wow. That
Regular games would number close to 200,
Mhm.
not just regular weekend games.
I can imagine parking would have been a challenge at that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hindi pa kasama dun yung ano, the only yung we baga ano eh, we go over 200, it's SOP na eh.
Mm.
Ano, SRO, sorry. Standing room only.
True.
We,
Eh,
we had, there were more people than we could actually accommodate in
mm.
play site. That's why other play sites catered to the spill, and then they mushroom.
No sport is airsoft. Yeah, airsoft. Airsoft people. Do you talk the fake one? Yeah, that are made for. We don't have any particular plan. Just blame it. We're not quite used to that big win. Just
Yun na nga yung ano,
There you are.
be.
yun na nga yung player na nakatilang malapit sila Parante.
Si Allen. Si Allen. Si
Ano
Allen.
yun si Allen, yung ano,
Florante. Florante.
hindi si Allen, si Florante nasa Tandang Sora eh.
Di si Florante nasa kanto lang namin.
Mm.
Oo, pero meron pa isa na, yung ano, yung PUP, nag-aaral ng PUP. Si Linari.
Ay, hindi ko matandaan. Hindi ko na matandaan yun. Hindi ko na siya matandaan eh. Pero parang familiar ka yun.
Nandun siya sa video eh. May speaker moment na ako eh. Kilala ko pero hindi ko matandaan yung pangalan.
That must have been a wonderful walk down memory lane for both of you to see old friends. And I want to show the viewers the difference between paintball and airsoft. So I'd like to leave the floor now to both of you to say compare the
Well, airsoft would fire 6 mm BBs, plastic BBs.
Right.
Paintball would fire half-inch uh, gelatin capsules with paint.
I have a feeling those would leave bigger welts. That'll last.
Uh, Not just welts,
Oh,
bruises,
oh, no.
hematoma.
Yeah. No, no wonder those guys were running as fast as they did.
Well, you back in the 90s, the main difference between airsoft and paintball would be the form factor.
Okay,
Airsoft guns look like real gun.
true, true.
Paintball guns look like pieces of pipe put together.
Oh yes, and
Because that's
That's how I.
uh, that was part of that wasn't exactly their fault
right.
because during that time in the US they cannot sell anything that looked like a real gun.
Yeah, well, for very very obvious
They,
reasons. Yeah.
yeah, they were restricted from producing lifelike
Mm,
or gun-like paintball gun.
mm, mm,
That's why they lost a lot of players over to airsoft because airsoft would lend itself to dressed up games. Eh.
oh, right. Yeah.
It's a natural progression eh.
Mm,
From just playing with guns to dressing up
mm,
in
mm.
cosplay.
Yeah.
Di ba? And paintball guns don't are not quite suited for dress up because they don't look like the real gun.
Right.
But now they do.
Yeah, I've seen the magazines that have been coming out and websites, and it's amazing how lifelike or how realistic even paintball looks now.
Yeah, they simply had to follow.
Mm,
Na ang ano nila rationale nila nun eh, if airsoft guns could look real, why couldn't paintball guns
mm.
do the same?
Yeah. Let me turn to Con now and ask him for his thoughts about why you prefer airsoft over paintball, because both have been available for a long time, and yet you took the airsoft route.
First off, I was exposed to the photocopy poster of AGL back in SM City in North Nova Fontana, if I believe the
Yeah,
store, which
Okay.
painted the survival game, Contact, Rex
Oh,
Villarosa,
oh,
and all those
right.
things. And that's why I chose airsoft between paintball. But here's the thing. Back in the day, airsoft is discreet. It was under the radar because of the idea it looks like a real gun.
Right.
Paintball, on the other hand, is more accepted, more mainstream.
Mm,
That's why when I created my thesis in USC in Fine Arts for advertising major, I focused on paintball gotcha incorporated. Now, Vince Padilla asked me because I introduced myself that I'm into airsoft. He asked, why did you choose paintball and you're an airsoft player? And I simply said, because we're discreet and we're not supposed to advertise or tell ourselves openly. That's why
mm,
I chose
mm, mm.
paintball. So that's the idea I chose airsoft between paintball. The idea of like the being prudent, being discreet, and being first to know airsoft than paintball.
Okay, thank you so much, Con. I myself played a few games of paintball, and what frustrated me was the fact that if I saw an opponent, I had to fire upwards and watch that pellet take its time, curve upwards in an arc before hopefully hitting the target before the target moved off. And after two games of that, I got frustrated. And so when I first met both you and Rex at that game set at Piscor, where one of my clients wanted uh, war games as their team building. I got hooked because I love the fact that it could fly straighter and further than the paintball could. Now, Rex, let me turn back to you and ask you, are there training applications that airsoft can bring to a serious player?
Ah, marami.
Okay.
Kasi, well, the way we approach airsoft or the way we approach our brand of game, the AGL game, was to bring in as many skills as you know or practice as many skills as you know. Yung field skills, survival skills,
Mm,
even na technical rescue skills,
mm,
anything that you can bring into the game. Camping, swimming, rock climbing. You can engage in the game as an individual, or you can engage in the game as part of a team. Yung
right.
team building portion, um, learning teamwork
Mm,
and cohesiveness, discipline, individually and as a group, working towards a goal. Yung mga that's kind of thing.
Now, I'd like to throw an idea at you, Rex, because I've always felt that if airsoft had somehow been included in, say, ROTC curriculum or CAT curriculum, I'd bet more people would want to be a cadet and not try to get themselves exempted. Because after all, there's not much that you can learn from parades and keeping your boots shiny and your buckle shiny. It won't take you 5.
Well, ano yun eh, medyo abstract kasi yun eh.
Mm.
Some people, I don't know if you're one of those guys who ask the question, what do you learn from marching?
Yeah.
You can learn a lot from marching,
Okay.
but first and foremost, you learn discipline.
Mm.
If you cannot, if you cannot force yourself to do marching, what else can you ask of yourself?
Correct.
Yeah. And why do they march? To move any number of people, particularly the bigger the number of people, efficiently from one place to the other, diba? And keep them intact.
Yes.
But yung concept kasi is lost on most people, so they don't see why you have to march, diba? Or when you're marching with precision, you learn to work with others alongside you, in front, back, your side. You march at the same time, you walk at the same pace, your steps are measured the same as everyone else, diba? And then you have to memorize a lot of drills so that you can do it properly. You
Right.
need discipline, you need patience, you need perseverance.
Like you, I underwent the COCC training, and I love that because we were taught a lot of very practical skills like assembly, disassembly, in the dark, blindfolded, uh, jungle survival stuff.
When I no 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 okay, when I was freshman college, lined up dun sa ROTC desk, yung yung sergeant said, boy, ganda ng sulat mo. Lagi, lalagay niya sa banda.
Okay.
But there you go. Sir, anywhere else but the band. Nag- Nagbigay sa akin ng last card ko nakalagay. COCC.
I'd always thought, okay,
I could have moved. Pero mas gusto ko na yun eh. I actually uh, didn't have to convince myself to go through with COCC because I preferred learning something more than yung usual, the typical cadet eh.
agreed. I was of the same mind too.
But the thing is nga kasi, my mindset was that I, I want to learn something more than just marching around.
Yes.
Pero nagbago yung perspective ko kasi when as an officer. That's when I learned why we will march.
Yes.
And then I had to look back on my days I was part of a drill platoon. And we could not have done it if kung di kami matyaga, kung wala kaming disiplina, di ba?
That's
Kung
right.
di kami kung di kami marunong sumunod sa orders.
Indeed.
Now the problem with airsoft,
Mm.
okay, first walang structure.
Agreed. Agreed. The video we just saw a while ago focused so much on capture the flag, which is of course fast paced and is pretty much a free for all. There may be some team effort, but not much.
Well, again, yes and no. Kasi you have to look at it like a chessboard.
Mm.
You must have a play in mind.
Mm.
Who goes forward, who takes back, who you assign who does what.
Oh, I mean like football.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
You'll sacrifice this, di ba?
Let me ask Con, you went through ROTC yourself in UST, right? What's your take um, on the topic so far?
Well, it's like this in our ROTs back in MS-21, MS-22,
Right.
24. It was always the march, the standing formation,
Yeah.
notes taking. Actually, there were tests, but they will just give you the answer. It's like the question number one is answered.
Okay.
No, we just and we would sometimes volunteer as MP because as MP you get to move around because you're the one getting the merienda, the order
Oh,
for the coffee, order
yeah.
for the siopaw.
I understand that.
There wasn't much any learning. Okay.
Oh.
Now when we had the live firing at the Fort Bonifacio,
Right.
going down, it was the old Fort Bonifacio back then.
Hmm.
And I was annoyed to the instructor who was actually it wasn't the instructor, it was just one of the ROTC officers. He would hit each one of us for misfiring or not be able to handle the M16.
Okay.
And it was because it was my first time to see a live order. I said, how do I charge this thing? Then he whacked me on the helmet and he said, "We should have known." At the top of my head, at the top of my head, said, "If only you taught us."
Right.
And he was screaming all the time because Miss Jam don't know how to charge the handle, don't know how to put the magazine. It was a FUBAR. And he kept shouting and there wasn't no technical learning to say the least. It was mostly just for the idea of be able to pass by
Right.
attendance the MS 21, 22, 23.
Yeah, Rect and I, we
Zero
are
learning.
more acquainted with the M1 Garand. So we had our ears ringing for 3 hours after that. Yeah, we did have some. I'm sure in UP we were taught the windage and the elevation thing, and then of course how to use the sight picture. But when you start to hear the shots go off and you see the empty brass flying right in front of you, and you're scared to death that it'll singe your skin. Uh, it's bloody loud, and you can't hear yourself think after. But you know what? On that basis, I'm glad I wasn't with the battery because when they fired off those 105 howitzer,
Howitzer.
I'm sure their hearing was far more compromised than ours was. Oh, what
Uh,
battalion were you part of?
ako,
Yeah.
I was Battalion S4.
Oh, okay, so you were the sergeant for training S4. Because
Surprise.
uh,
Logistic.
yeah, uh, I was S1, a staff sergeant, um, during my NCO time before I transitioned over.
Executive.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, I was handling logistics for 4 companies.
Wow. That must have given you a lot of headaches, I'm sure. I know what Con is talking about with the merienda and stuff because you can't remember who to give the change back to. When you end up with a bag full of, kanino kaya itong barya? Bahala ka na, hindi ko na maalala. Kasi, so, you divvy up the spoils. So,
Well, ano nga lang kasi yung I know the problem with ROTC in general. Um, they hold ROTC mainly just for compliance.
mm,
They just go through the motions.
mm,
Now, it would be interesting if we incorporate airsoft, but then I think and I feel that incorporating airsoft into ROTC activity and training would create its own problems.
indeed.
Particularly, may mga interests involved na dyan eh.
Mm.
You can imagine, that's big money.
Yes, yes. Medyo mahal nga.
No, that's big money for somebody who's going to supply the equipment.
All right, yeah.
Di ba?
Yeah.
Who's going to buy the equipment?
Yeah.
The school or the individual?
Mm. Ah, there you go.
Di ba?
Yep, even now, di ba, just the boots alone, the BDU is already an issue for the less fortunate students in schools. And so to require them to purchase something like that would be almost cruel.
Give you an example din. I don't know kung alam to ni Con eh. Did I mention talking to some higher ups in sa Marines? And yung kausap namin, must have slipped, let it out, na they were exploring a tie-up between the Marines and airsoft groups, no? Or incorporating airsoft into their training because they wanted to find justification to spend their budget allocation.
Good grief. In other words, help us to use it up or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Kami yun, no? Lumalabas din ang driving force no, why they're even considering airsoft because they could charge it off to the budget.
That's sad. That really is quite sad. That shouldn't be the driving force at all. Yeah. Mm.
Yun yung, kaya nga, ano ba ROTC?
Mm. Well, Reserve Officers Training Course. It's supposed to prepare the future leaders of our armed services.
Ano kasi, the moment pinasok mo yung airsoft doon, yung focus ng cadets or even the officers themselves would shift to the equipment
Mm. I know the feeling.
and to the game.
Right.
Not to, ROTC is essentially an indoctrination program.
Right.
It's a recruitment program. Di ba?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of scared to think what kind of officers they're going to get to recruit if we get them from airsoft players.
Mm. Ah, I guess without mentioning any teams or any names, I agree with you in the sense that um, over the years we've seen some really extreme uh, teams and really extreme behavior, and some fist fights break out at game sites because they couldn't take it. In other words, napikon. So yeah, and then if you bring that kind of glory hound mindset over to the services, then that would not be a very good thing for the men. Maybe the mission, but definitely not the men. So try to protect both the men and achieve the mission. So I hear you. I know what you're trying to say. Now, at this point, I'd like to ask both of you, where do you think is the future, or what direction do you think airsoft should take in the Philippines?
Hard question.
Uh,
Kasi, ano nga uh, whereas when we started, iba yung culture
mm,
Iba yung mindset.
right.
Back then, we were just playing a game.
Yes.
And that's why the reason why we call it, or we adopted yung survival game, in the term survival game, is the goal was not to get shot.
Mm, mm,
It wasn't, it's not like the goal is to shoot the other guy. The goal is not to get shot.
right. Yes.
Pero ngayon, iba yung mindset They'd put on a 3,000 round mag and use it up all on one guy within 10 seconds.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Mm. Almost like a Gatling gun. Yep.
Yung it's an arms race.
Mm,
Marami ng factors go into it.
mm,
Yung um, na mold yung player's mindset into an arms race,
mm,
PBE race,
mm,
cosplay race.
mm,
You know, it's not just one thing anymore.
mm, mm.
Meron ng meron ng subcultures yung Meron ng subcultures within the group.
True enough. So in other words, it's evolved to the point where it's no longer recognizable as the original purpose or intent of the sport. So maybe we could talk about what we wish wasn't going on. Like that's right. That's one of them, where it's become an arms race. Let me ask God. Um, what would make you become more active again, if ever?
Okay, for me, the quality of the game itself. At the same time, the GMRC of the players. Old school, but definitely wait. Because, I came there for camaraderie. I didn't came there to be hurt.
Yeah,
I came there to practice my skills, have fun. I totally agree with what Rex said. We should always go back to the idea of, you know, the old school ways of this is a game, this is a sport. Just have fun. Don't
yeah,
go out there to have that arms race thing because that defeats the purpose of the sportsmanship, the camaraderie, because the gun itself is hurting other people instead
true.
of, the person learning skills, building camaraderie, building friendship.
Mm.
So it's really time for the sports to go back to the old school ways of
Mm.
proper mindset, the the skills of learning, and at the same time, honesty in the game, sportsmanship.
One of the
Definitely.
things that attracted me to AGL uh, during the days of Piscor and even later on to Praetorian was the predominance of gentlemen players, those who were very honest and they'd get hit in the pinky and they'd admit it and then walk off. And they certainly tried to avoid headshots and they were very careful about not going full auto if they can help it. So I still value my membership in that group and maybe to me I'm with Rex in the sense that it shouldn't turn into an arms race, but it should turn into the sort of sport that encourages fitness, um, survival skills, tactics, cleverness, or strategizing over, say, who's got the bigger gun, who's got the more ammo, who's got the nicer looking BDU. Um, it just takes the fun out of it. So uh, let me just ask if there was a bit of advice that you could give to a future generation of players because let's face it, we're all aging, me included. and, and I realize every time Tonyo tries to call for people to go to the game site to play, fewer and fewer people are going. And some of us have transitioned to scuba diving, others have gone to mountain biking. Rex is a very good archer himself. So um,
Lars Anderson.
we move. So we definitely, I think, need to entice another generation of younger players, hopefully uh, giving them the same mindset of being sportsmen, gentlemen, and focus not on the equipment, but on the benefits, the game itself. So, would like to start with any advice you'd like to give to somebody who'd like to join the sport? Rex?
Almighty first.
Yeah, of course.
Well, pareho lang nung kay Con, no? Go back to basics.
Mm,
Old school.
yes.
Yung, um, for a long time, I mean, as long as we could push the idea, we tried to even it out between new players and old players,
Mm,
where nobody had such a big advantage. So uh, now there's an arms race because the newbies want to go into the game trying to even out the odds. Eh.
mm,
And the only way they see it is if they would armor themselves up and then bring several thousand rounds. Propaganda fires over 600 FPS.
oh, good grief.
You know? Ganun yun eh. And unfortunately, yung mga organizers and businessmen selling guns, parts, and upgrade services are not helping.
Right. Yeah. The modification process. Yes.
Yeah, it got to na ano nun eh, ganun din yun eh. In Japan, even though merong ASGK regulation,
Mm.
meron pa rin pasaway eh.
Yes.
What they did was they would sell the guns in basic configuration
Okay.
na yung regulation compliant.
Mm.
And then after sales, modify it. They would sell parts. Doon sila kumikita eh. They would
Right.
sell parts, do modification.
Yeah. Residual income. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why in the end, you know what the Japanese government did? Ang hinuli nila is anybody who would sell modification parts and offer services that would allow the gun to be modified above dun sa prescribed limits. Dito ganun din eh.
Mm.
Yung mga sellers would push for M140 springs, M150 springs,
Good.
better feel, better that, tighter barrel.
Yeah.
And then they would sell chronos, so you can chrono in here, you can see that you shoot 600 every time.
Oh, good grief.
And then look, yung preponderance of box magazines with 3,000 rounds.
Mm. Mm.
What would a newbie with one magazine carrying 300 rounds? Ano chances niya against somebody with 3,000? Diba?
Right. Yeah.
Anong chances nung 300 rounds mo firing at say 400 FPS? While this other guy is shooting 600 FPS and has 10,000, no, 10 times more supply.
Mm. Mm.
Diba? So doon pa lang uneven na yung ano eh.
Yes.
Yung game organizer pa lang allowing that would make it uneven already.
Agree.
So they would tell the newbie, oh, bili ka nito, bili ka niyan, upgrade ka dito, upgrade ka niyan, para magpantay kayo.
Mm.
Then other guy would bring 2 box knives.
Mm.
And
If I'm getting you where you're going with this correctly, you're probably saying that anybody curious or interested to join should vet a team or an event first to make sure that the people who are organizing it or the team that is possibly going to join has a history of complying with rules or of sportsmanlike behavior rather than
well, I'm not sure how we can get people to want to play under the old rules. A lot of newbies would, but I don't know how long they will stay around kung a strictly regulated game.
Mm.
Okay, they'd be tempted eh.
Mm.
Yun ang problema because before it was easier for us to influence people or discipline people in following the rules
Mm.
because they had nowhere else to go.
Right.
So either you follow that or you don't get to play.
In other words, my
The
way,
moment,
highway.
yeah, my way or the highway. But then all of a sudden somebody comes up with SE tests,
Mm.
endless,
Mm.
BC tests, whatever. Then they have choices.
Mm.
We don't know if we don't allow high FPS. We don't allow this. We don't allow that. But the other guy does. The players transfer.
Mm.
They have the option. They transfer up,
Mm.
and you'd be left with only those who really believe,
Mm.
true believers.
Right.
They die.
Yeah. Well, true believers in this room right here, including Ray, who couldn't be with us tonight. Yeah. Uh, how about you, Con? What advice would you give to new players?
Okay, two things. First off is sportsmanship. That encompasses a lot of things. Good mindset, camaraderie, humility,
Mm,
and it all goes back again because whenever you're in a game, you always practice sportsmanship, and that you always take that to any place, any endeavor that you go to,
mm,
however you call it. It always falls back to the idea of sportsmanship.
mm,
And second is experiential. Experiential means you learn from experience, and this is one thing that I learned during my decades of playing. And in fact, this is my first time to be outspoken in my hobby, since I'm not into social media or posting anything.
okay.
Ever since that I played in airsoft, I always carried the idea of, remember I said that airsoft back then is discreet.
Yes.
Up to this time, I practiced that discreet in me. I didn't brag. I didn't wear anything to show. I didn't wear anything military insignia just to show off, because I always reneged to the idea of, being prudent, being discreet.
Mm,
And, this idea of experiential is beneficial for those who would in the future be in another different endeavors, because I'm going to say this: airsoft playing in AGL and in other games helped me to be a good firefighter, because the racking, carrying the SCBA,
yes.
weights around 20 pounds at the most.
Yeah.
It was easy for me. It
Right.
wasn't hard for me. It was because decades of rocking, marching with, and humping in the boonies with my rucksack. It was easy. The
Yeah.
leadership skills I learned from airsoft playing, and playing with, interacting with other teams,
Mm,
and even the talking to the civilians, because we would have meal sims back then. We had to impromptu talk to the locals,
mm,
the same time, being this all geared up and somehow surprising them. And other things is that resiliency,
mm,
playing in the boondocks with all those gears and just being accountable for yourself. It will help you in your endeavor as being a firefighter, search and rescue, starting up with starting up with small enterprise for your
mm,
business, and even teaching, because you have to be resilient. And playing the sports teaches you resiliency. Again, it goes back to the idea of sportsmanship. So these are the two things that I really would like to say to the new player:
mm.
sportsmanship, experience.
Right. Thank you so much, Con. And my own very brief take on this is that if you're interested to join the sport, uh, do go and choose good teams that have a reputation for sportsmanship, as Con has been saying, and those that are not much into the arms race, as Rex has been saying. In other words, join it maybe for the same reason that I did years ago. It's because I wanted to become physically fit. And thanks to airsoft, I transitioned over to running, and so I started to join fun runs, half marathons, and then even in school I was into swimming. So and unlike Rex, who did platform diving, but I was into swimming a lot. So um, I joined it, and I encourage all of you young new players to join it more for the physical fitness aspect of it, and to carry with you that mindset of being a gentleman, of being honest and humble, because this sport will reward you with good friends, lifelong friends, friends who are still close to both Rex and to Con, even up to now, who still refer to Rex as Almighty, and there's a reason for that, because he epitomized the gentleman in this. our sport. And so I'd like to take time to thank Rex for taking time out to be on our show tonight, and also Con for doing his best, initially with his laptop, then with his smartphone, uh, determined to join us tonight.
Yes,
And for
you
all
did.
your friends out there, maybe a parting shot from Rex, maybe. Would you like to greet anybody out there, or uh, i- invite somebody to join a particular team?
Well, no, I would tend to follow your advice to look for a good team. I'm not in any position to recommend anyone in particular at this point.
Mhm.
Uh, and I agree, you should really go into airsoft as not as an end all, but as a gateway to other things,
Mhm.
uh, other sports, other activities, outdoor activities, learning new skills,
Mhm.
and putting them to good use.
Mhm.
Especially now where we have disasters, you could use the skills you learned,
How true. Map
di ba?
reading, orienteering, jungle survival, all of those. Yeah.
All of those.
Yeah.
That was the goal before. Eh. When you notice the group's name has no mention of airsoft.
Mhm. That's right. Action Games League.
Airsoft is only implied
Mhm.
because the logo would show somebody running
The flag.
with a gun
Mhm.
and a flag,
Mhm.
and the other guy with the rifle supporting the guy running.
Mhm.
Teamwork.
That's right. That's right.
The flag, the goal to run with the flag. The guns themselves, the airsoft guns, are just tools.
Yes. In the
Yeah,
end.
that's how the old school guys looked at it,
Mhm.
and that's how I look at it. So who knows? Maybe the Jedi should be back.
Well, I hope this show will create the force that awakens.
Yeah.
John, how about you? Any
Okay,
last
so
words?
okay, to all the new ones out there who wants to try airsoft, first start within yourself. Have a good mindset and don't be swayed by what you see in social media, by what your friends have or impose on you. Just have fun. Always have fun with the game. Don't be swayed that you need to buy this. No, have fun. Be yourself. Practice sportsmanship. Start within yourself. Then later on, you're going to progress. And I'm speaking this from experience because decades of that, I was just a cannon fodder. It's fine. Then later, I developed myself. So again, find yourself. Do not be dissuaded by what commercialism and what your friends tell you. Have fun.
Thank you so much, Con. Now, as I close tonight's episode, I'd just like to issue this invitation on behalf of my team, that's Praetorian, and you can find us on Facebook. That if you're looking for a small, intimate team of people practicing this old school mindset of being sportsmen and being out there just for the fun and also learning skills at the same time, then do look us up and join us. We're easy to find, right? So, with that, I'd like to wish everybody a great night, and I do hope you have safe playing, and there will be many opportunities for all of us. So, tonight, once more, thank you to Rex Villarosa, call sign
Okay.
Almighty, and Con Abraham, call sign Insect Man, and your host, Dino Santos, call sign Knife Man. All wishing
Bye,
you
Rex.
a
Bye,
great
Dina.
night.